When discussing the greatest NBA players to ever do it, people will throw out names like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and so on. The first person on that list that's a point guard is typically Magic Johnson. But who's second? There's multiple candidates for the position on the all-time point guard list. But today, we're going to debate the 2 point guards that I have ranked second and third all-time for that position. And those two are Oscar Robertson, aka the Big O, and Steph Curry, aka Chef Curry. What's going on, guys? SMH Super Mario Hoops back with some more hoops. And today we're going to break down the player comparison on Oscar Robertson and Stephen Curry. Now, this breakdown is comprised of 20 different categories with contrasting weights through a point system. Some categories are worth 10 points, some worth 5, and others worth 2. Overall, it totals up to 100 points. Now, what falls under each point category? Under 2 points, I have speed, agility, strength, advanced analytics, and circumstances. Under the 5 point categories, we have mid-range, finishing, 3-point shot, playmaking, IQ, versatility, rebounding, clutchness, athleticism, efficiency, impact, and durability. And the 3 10-point categories include scoring, defense, and accolades. Now, I know before I get into this, there is a lot of Steph Curry fans and haters out there, so one of you might not like how this video is going to go, but I'm still going to go through with my video. I'm still going to go through this point system, so just know that going into this, and it's all just a friendly debate, so just keep that all in mind. Another thing to keep in mind before we get started, this is the first video I've done where I break down all these individual categories and use this kind of point system for what I believe is the most important parts of the game. Also, some aspects of the game will be displayed in multiple categories as they are more significant player traits. Now, we're going to start from the bottom level tiers and work our way up. Starting with the 2 point categories, in terms of speed, both weren't exactly electric point guards in terms of quickness. I mean, this isn't really a Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook level comparison here, but both were still great at pushing the ball up the floor and getting their teammates looks very quickly, so we're going to split the points here. Agility is also going to split here. Both Oscar and Curry were able to make decisions on the fly, up the floor very fast in transition, which is a true definition of agility. Now, in terms of strength, this one's going to go to Oscar. As we know, Steph Curry is not really the strongest man in the weight room, while Oscar has a bigger stature. However, we can admit that Curry has put on more muscle over his career than from his Davidson days. Advanced analytics will favor Steph Curry. Now, Oscar does have the most win shares for any point guard in their prime years, but Steph gets the edge here for his insane true shooting percentage and his value over replacement player rating. Now, circumstances is the last one under this category, and it will favor Oscar for the 2 points. Many people don't realize that the Royals in the 60s were arguably one of the worst run organizations in all sports behind Pepper Wilson and Joe Axelson. Whereas Joe Lacob and Bob Myers have built a great foundation around Curry with Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, acquiring Iggy, and signing Kevin Durant in 2016. Now, time for the 5 point categories, and we start with mid-range. And this one, it's a tie. Now, Oscar was arguably the most prolific mid-range shooter of his time and more, with a majority of his baskets coming from 10 to 15 feet. While, of course, Curry is seen as the greatest shooter ever from deep range, so we're going to split it here. I mean, he does prefer the 3-point shot over the mid-range, but we're going to give him each 2.5 points. Finishing is going to go to Oscar. Now, I understand Curry has made some remarkable shots, but Oscar was accustomed to taking contact more so than Curry, along with being more acrobatic as well. 3-point shooting, I mean, come on, it's Stephen Curry. Like I said before, he's arguably the best long-range shooter ever, and in my opinion, he is the best 3-point shooter ever, so we gotta pick Steph Curry here. Playmaking goes to Oscar on this one. He's more consistently had a role of pretty much orchestrating the whole offense by way of feeding guys like Jack Twyman, Bob Dandridge on a kickout, or Jerry Lucas and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on a pick and roll. And while I know Curry has as well, a lot of those responsibilities also go to Draymond Green on the Warriors, so Oscar gets this edge. IQ will go to both. Both of them, of course, are very smart players that generally make the right decision and get their teammates the best shots possible. Versatility is going to go to Oscar. He's 6'5", opposed to Curry being 6'3", and Oscar was said to have played between the 1, 2, 3, and even the 4 on mild occasion throughout his career. We don't really see Curry at any other position besides the 1 and the 2. Rebounding is also going to go to Oscar as well, considering this man averaged a triple-double for a season and over 10 rebounds a game for 3 seasons. Now this one stings for Steph though, as he's arguably a top 5 rebounding point guard of all time, and definitely one of the best in recent history. Clutchness will go to both. Now Oscar came up big against the Nationals in 1963, the 76ers in 1964, the Bullets in 1971, the Warriors in 1972, the list goes on. Now Steph Curry also has had these moments against the Rockets in both 2015 and 2019, the Thunder in 2016, and the Blazers in 2019, so both of them have enough evidence to provide why they're both clutch point guards. Athleticism is going to go to Oscar, and this one really shouldn't be debatable. This is just something that's not prioritized in Steph Curry's game, and he's still successful without it anyways. Efficiency, however, is going to go to Steph. Yes, I know Oscar had a better career field goal percentage, but Steph also had a solid field goal percentage with crazy shooting splits from three-point range as well. Now, that may not be too fair to Oscar, considering he didn't play with a three-point line, and he was still a pretty good three-point shooter for his time, but it still doesn't compare to what we've seen from Steph Curry. Impact is based on two parts: impact on the game and impact on your team. Now, Steph has helped change the way the game is played today, so for that part, he gets the full 2.5 points. The other 2.5 will be split, considering both were league MVPs, both have been leaders of a championship-level team while performing at a high level. And without them, both their teams took a hit and missed the playoffs, that being the Warriors this year with Steph hurt and the Bucks after Oscar retired. However, the durability points will go to Oscar. He didn't miss a single playoff game, unlike Steph did due to his injuries. Also, we've seen Steph have injuries both early on in his career and recently last year. Now for the few 10-point tiers. The first area is scoring, which will go to Oscar. He actually had 6 seasons with a higher point per game average than Steph's best season, along with 9 seasons over 25 points per game to Steph's 4. You may say Steph played in a tougher era and was purely a more efficient player, but we already discussed efficiency, and it's impossible to actually know how much they'd score in other people's era, so you have to go on what we saw from them in their time. Defense is very tricky because both weren't really lockdown defenders. However, in a time where advanced analytics were not prominent, Oscar still has more defensive win shares per season, along with his best season being above Curry's as well, while typically guarding the best player in the other team. Now that's usually Clay or Iggy's role for Steph over the past few years. And that being said, Curry did lead the league in steals per game, which I know isn't a great measurement considering Allen Iverson also led the league in steals per game and wasn't a great defender himself. But it is worth noting, so this is going to be a weird one. We're going to give 3/4 of the points, which is 7.5, to Oscar, and we're going to give 1/4 of the points to Steph here, so that's 2.5 for him. And lastly, accolades, and I'm going to say here they're tied. Now Curry has 1 more MVP and 2 more titles, but Oscar has basically double the amount of All-Star and All-NBA appearances as Steph, because Oscar obviously has the longevity factor over Steph Curry's career as of right now. Now neither have been Finals MVP at the time of this video either, which is also worth noting. So as for the final score roundup, the score is 67.25 to 32.75, with the winner being Oscar Robertson. Yes, Oscar Robertson is the second greatest point guard of all time. But like I said to start, these guys are second and third for point guards in my opinion, although that doesn't mean they're neck and neck among all positions. I won't say right now where I rank each of them, because that's a video for another day, but just know that I have some room between them. I feel like many might think I have Oscar too high and Curry too low, but I think a lot of that has to do with recency bias. And don't get me wrong, Steph Curry has been sensational, and as I mentioned, he's helped change the game. But people have heavily overshadowed the greatness, the impact, the overall display from a basketball standpoint of Oscar Robertson as a result. Of course, things could change on this list over the remainder of Steph Curry's career. He could fully overtake the accolades part, impact, clutch categories when it's all said and done. But I don't really see the possibility based on this point system here where he can pass Oscar. Overall, both are great point guards in history that have left monumental impacts on their respective time periods. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I enjoyed making this, so I'll likely continue doing more of these in the future. I'll review the point system I've constructed multiple times going into my next one, but I think for the most part I hit every aspect a player could ask for. But yeah, that's going to do it for me, and I'm out. Peace.